Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the AMX M4 Milli 54. It's the tier 10 French heavy tank. It's located on the south spawn of Mines, and this one is under the command of RNG's Toxis. And yes, he's in a different clan this time. I keep wondering why he keeps bouncing around, but there again, it's up to him. You can be in more than one clan, I suppose. Well, the M4 Milli 54, normally the Milli 54 means that it was designed in 1954, and it's basically another variant of the M4 tank that the French were building, which are basically redesigns of the Tiger II. This one actually has more in common with the Panzerkampfwagen 7. Yep, the Panzer 7, especially in terms of armor, and you'll see that if you see the armor profile for this thing. Now, he can have two different guns, either a 120 or a 130. Let's see which one he's got. Okay, he's got the 130, capable of 560 alpha and 296mm of pen. The standard armor is normally 560 and 250mm there, but this is the premium ammo he's using. Only one round of the, only 2 rounds of HE instead. The HE rounds are capable of doing, just get it to come up again, 640 alpha and 65mm of pen. Now, it does have particularly strong armor at the front, but he did take a hit there from the Wizzy 111 Model 5A, who's, if I remember correctly, or can see correctly, is a little further up on top of the hill, I think. Are you up there? Okay, we've got 2 tanks, an E100 and a mouse, and he took a round into the tracks. Okay, took another hit from the mouse, and we're looking at this one now, trying to find out where it went in. There are some weak spots in the sides of the turret, the sides of the vehicle. Now, the thing about the 13cm gun is it does have a high alpha, but it has lower pen than the 120mm gun. That's got a much better pen. So you give away something by having the higher alpha, you get lower pen, and vice versa with the 120mm. It's got good gun depression, 8 degrees. And it's got very tough frontal armor, but as you've seen, he has taken some hits from the enemy, specifically the mouse, the Wizzy 111 Model 5A. It doesn't have a high hit point pool as well. It's only 2,600, if I remember correctly, is the correct, 2,500 rather, and that's not a lot when you consider what some of the other tier 10 tanks do have. But it does make up for it with some of the armor, and last he managed to get around into the IS-7 and got a fire as well, but only for a brief moment, so that was a premium fire extinguisher. Another one goes into the side, 571. He's making it up now, he's up to 1,800, and the E100 appears to be pushing. Say goodnight to the IS-7? Maybe. He need a lucky shot to get, oh, not there, there. And yes, he did get him. Okay, so he's got his first kill. E100 next. And that one didn't go in, but the E100 is out of the game, taken out by our Waffenträger E100. Okay, there is a one-shot IS-7 up there. He's gone. Okay, so now it's the mouse that we need to deal with, but you know the weak spots on the mouse between the tracks in the there's a weak spot, or you need to get it through the turret at the weak point, which is the rounded section right at the middle of the turret alongside the gun, not the actual magnet. Or he went for the weak spot between the tracks there, and in fact our team are pushing forward, including the Object 279 early, so we might as well help them and collect as much hit points as we can. Now it's starting to pay off. He's got to 3,500. The mouse is down. Now he can push. He's just looking for the enemy coming down. Oh, that did not work out well for the STB. He got the kill. So 2 kills now. We're only 1 up on the enemy, but I think we have the momentum in our favour now. So long as we stay alongside the 279 early, we can get a shot on that gorilla. And we do. 645, a high roll. Okay, we're blocking the 279, but we're pushing forward. Yes, there's somebody around the corner. It's an M60, and he took the round through the tracks into the main hull. And we're going to do the same again. In fact, it looks like he's giving up. So we'll just keep pumping rounds into his drive wheel. He's not going to go anywhere. And the next shot will probably kill him. 60 TP goes, takes 1. Oh, now we've got to go for the M60 or we'll lose it. No, well, he's gone. The 279 actually got taken out by the M60 got taken out by the 60 TP. There's only 4 enemies left. One of them's in the hill. In fact, all 4 of them are in the hill. And we're going to 60 TP. We get him in the rear. So that's another kill. 3 kills now for RDDTY. Just showing how tough this tank can be. After taking all that early damage, he's now dealing it out. And hits that Wizzy 111, the one who's been hitting him, and gets 20% of the enemy hit pool, so he might have the high caliber. He's still got 910 hit points, which means he can take a shot from the Wizzy, but I think he's going for the kill. Just get around the corner quickly enough, he can take him. Oh, missed out, but puts a round into the enemy 121 just before he dies, and that is a victory. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for RDDTY in the AMX M4 Mili54. It started off kind of slow, and in fact actually he was receiving more damage than he was dealing out, but then he got into his rhythm and started pumping those shells into enemy tanks that he could see weak spots on, and it started working for him, that 13cm gun. He managed to get a spotter for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage, a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits and got 9. He got a 5 for effect for doing more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle, and he got a high caliber for dealing more damage than the hit points than anyone else in the game. At least 20% of the enemy hit pool, so he did score the highest. We look at the team score, we can see that his high score was 7,725 in the end. The second highest damage turned out to be the Wizzy 111 Model 5A, rather. He managed to get 4,802 hit points of damage, and the third highest went to the Object 279 early with 4,076. When it came to kills, it was the Sheridan who did the best. He got 4 kills in that game. The second highest was RDDTY with his AMX M4 Mili54, alongside the Wizzy 111 Model 5A, who managed to get 3 as well, and 2 kills went to the Object 279 early and the Mouse on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, it's RDDTY, not just from the fact that he got the highest damage in the game, but he was pushing the game as well by being at the front. 1,418 went to him, 1,186 went to the 279 early, and 933 went to the Wizzy 111 Model 5A again on his own team. And the only 2 players actually managed to get over 1,000, the M4 Mili54 and the Object 279. Well, not really surprising, 2 very powerful tanks. Let's have a look at detail. 20 shots fired, so yes, he didn't get through all of his ammunition. You actually get, if I recall correctly, is 40 rounds of ammunition. He only burned 20, so only threw half of his ammo. 20 direct hits, 14 pens. Not all of them actually did pen though. 7,725 hit points, of which 645 were at more than 300 meters. And I think that was the sole shot that he fired at the Gorilla 15. It did hit the target and badly damaged him because, of course, he doesn't have much in the way of armor. 7 hits received from the enemy. 3 of them were penetrations, 4 non-penetrations, and 1 hit by way of splash as well. 1,420 hit points of damage blocked by armor. He spotted 1 enemy vehicle, damaged 8 of the enemy, killed 3, and did 1,335 hit points of spotting assist. On a premium count, he earned 67,746 credits, but he is working towards his marks, and therefore he was using mostly premium ammo, and you can see from this the ammo costs were considerable, and so he actually made a loss for the game of 52,246 credits. But he did get 1,418 XP, 1,064 for tactical training, and 3,191 altogether, so he actually did very well. Considering that he hasn't marked it yet. He's still working his way up to it, but he will get there eventually. Let's have a quick look at the armor profile. Okay, that's the page for the actual thing, and here you can see the armor profile. Now this is actually thick armor. It doesn't actually show you, because it shows mostly orange, but there is some red on there where it's strong. But the upper plate, you can see 220mm on the upper plate, actually coming out at just under 300. There's a flattish part here where it's 240mm of armor coming out at 309. The lower plate is actually 125, which of course is producing 253 because of the angle. Again, like many French tanks, don't aim for the lower plate if you can help it, because you probably won't get through. It's a bit of false economy to do that. You can aim for the side bit here where it's only 150mm, so if he does angle himself at you, and some tanks will do that. These drivers won't. If they've got any smarts, they won't, because 150mm actually only becomes 184. But if he's looking at you from the front, 150mm becomes 277. You see, the armor is better if you're looking at the front of the enemy. You've got the enemy to your front. If you angle, it weakens it, just like it does on the IS-7 and the IS-3. So try not to angle to the enemy. But you can see on the turret, there is very thick armor around the base of the actual turret, which is quite strong. 260mm coming out at 377. So most players won't aim for the mantlets or for the base of the turret. If they aim for the sides, they're more than likely going to bounce off anyway. But look at how thick that armor is. 220mm impacted, but it's actually coming out at 449 or thereabouts. Shells are not going to get through that. The place they can get through is the cupolas. 100mm there, which is coming out at 177, and the other cupolas coming out at 100mm, coming out 172. So there are weak spots here. The top of the turret, you can just about make out it's sloped downwards. 60mm, effective armor 177. I don't know if you can overmatch that. I think you would have difficulty. So yes, aim for the cupolas. They are the weak spot. Or if the person angles, go for that spot. If you can get the sides, try and do that. The sides are only 85mm coming out at 150. Sides of the turret where he actually did get penetrated are only 80mm. So if you can get the rear end of the turret, do try for that instead. That's what the mouse did. And he put a round straight through the side there. And in fact, as you can see, there is a cupola there. The gunner is up front, if I recall. But the cupola at the back, I think, is for the loader. So that might be who you'd take out if you put the shell through there. I'm not sure if he actually did lose his loader in that game. I don't think he did. You can see the engine deck is only 40mm, coming out at about 46. Arty should be able to pen the roofs of these things. 60mm at the front, but it's only 40mm at the back, so it's a bit weaker towards the rear. If you aim for the rear of an M454, you've much better chance of penetrating it. Let's have a quick look at the live version. From the front, it is solid armor. It's really difficult to get through, and much better if it's looking directly at you. So keep your enemy to your front. It does expose your weak spots, but if you keep moving your turret about and raising your gun to jam them or block them, then there's a fairly good chance that they're not going to get their shot on target. If they're looking specifically at your cupolas, try and block it. If you hit the side, yes, you're more likely going to go through. They put the armor all at the front, not at the sides, and they kind of weaken the sides, unfortunately, and that makes it much easier to take one of these down from the side. But it's about midway downwards. You can see there, it actually comes down from 220 down to 120, and then it drops to 80. So it's much stronger at the front than it is towards the rear. Let's have a quick look at the modules. Hopefully this will come up. There it is. Okay, now let's go full screen. There, we've got the driver on the right hand side, the driver's mate or machine gunner on the left hand side. We can see that the gunner is actually the guy who's on the right hand side, but his is the one with the cupola. There is a gunnery sight a bit further forward, but that's not the gunnery sight like I thought it was. The loader is actually on the left hand side right next to the breech. The tank commander is right at the very back, and he's got the radio set as well. So he's obviously doing that. There's ammo racks all over the place inside. One directly behind the breech there. Another one down in the hull. And of course a big flat one in the shoulders on either side of the vehicle. At the back we've got the engine, which is taking up most of the room, with one big fuel tank at the very rear. So if you want to get a fuel fire, you're going to have to aim for the bit right at the very rear of the tank, which is a bit like the Tiger II or even the Panther for that matter, because that's where they put their fuel tank. But there you can see where all the places to aim for, either where the cupolas are or, well, you're not going to get through the front, so forget about these two guys. I doubt you're ever going to penetrate them. Even if you did get a shot through the viewport there, I think it probably would get hit by the touch the armor, and yeah, it'd be very difficult to kill the driver. And I don't think you're going to get a shot at the driver's mate. So I'd give up on those guys. I'd say go for the gunner and the commander. They're the easiest ones to kill. Even the loader is a no-no because he's not far enough back. The armor at that point is around about 120 millimeters, if I remember correctly. So I doubt that you would get through that, unless, of course, you could do that. I think if you did more than 120. I think, yes, going back to the previous page, let's have a quick look. It's 220 around about where the loader is. It's around about here. It's 120 coming up to 124. Maybe you could actually take out the loader. Maybe you could. But the commander and the gunner are definitely in the vulnerable zone, so you might be able to hit those. So thanks very much to RNG's Toxis for the replay. Not lots of people playing the AMX M4 Mini54 just recently. I think they're trying it out again with the 130mm gun just to get their third marks and all. And of course that's why RNG's Toxis is doing his. So yes, his premium ammo can be excused on that basis because he's just trying to get the marks, and he will stop it once he's actually managed to mark the thing completely. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.